Eleanor Marsh had spent 32 years believing that love was a transaction, something you earned through perfect grades, perfect posture, and a perfectly rehearsed smile. Her mother had taught her that. Her ex-husband Richard had confirmed it, and the moment she stood outside the glass doors of Hargrove Capital on a bitter January morning, her cardboard box of belongings balanced against her hip and her severance letter folded inside her coat pocket, she understood that even the professional world had agreed. Eleanor was 54 years old, recently divorced, recently unemployed, and recently invisible. The wind bit at her cheeks as she walked to the bus stop, because Richard had gotten the car in the settlement, along with the house, the vacation timeshare in Aspen, and apparently, her confidence. She sat on the cold metal bench and told herself she would not cry. She did not cry. What she did instead was notice the old man sitting beside her, wrapped in a coat 2 sizes too large, holding a brown paper bag with both hands like it was something precious. His name, she would later learn, was Theodore Hargrove, as in the Hargrove of Hargrove Capital, as in the man whose name was on the building she had just been escorted out of after the merger, eliminated her entire department. But Eleanor did not know that yet. What she knew was that he looked cold, and that the bag in his hands contained what appeared to be a sad, single sandwich, and that something in his eyes reminded her of her own reflection that morning. "Rough day?" she asked, because she had nothing left to lose by being kind. Theodore looked at her with genuine surprise, as though people did not often speak to him at bus stops, which she imagined they probably did not. Every day is a rough day when you're 71 and your doctor has told you that you have to take the bus because your blood pressure cannot handle the stress of being driven by your own driver, he said. Eleanor laughed. It was the first real laugh she had produced in weeks, maybe months, and it felt strange in her chest, like a door opening in a room that had been locked for a long time. "I just got fired," she said. "I just got a lecture about sodium intake," he replied. Rough day for both of us. They rode the bus together for 40 minutes, and in those 40 minutes, Eleanor told Theodore about her 22 years in financial compliance, about the merger, about the cardboard box, about Richard and the car and the house in the suburbs that she had planted. Roses in every spring for a decade. Theodore listened in a way that most people did not, without glancing at his phone, without offering solutions, without nodding impatiently waiting for his turn to speak. He simply listened. And when she was done, he said, "The roses were yours. You'll plant them somewhere else." It was such a simple thing to say. It was the right thing. When Eleanor stood to get off at her stop, Theodore handed her a business card. "I'm looking for someone to head up compliance for a new subsidiary," he said. "Someone who actually knows what they're doing and isn't afraid to tell a 71-year-old man when he's wrong." Eleanor looked at the card. She looked at him. "You're Theodore Hargrove," she said. "You own the company that fired me this morning. Technically, the board made that decision, and I'm still furious about it," he replied calmly. "Call the number on Monday." She called. The position was real, more senior than anything she had held at Hargrove Capital, with a team of 12 and a mandate to build the compliance division from the ground up. Eleanor threw herself into the work with everything she had, and she was extraordinary at it. Because she had always been extraordinary at it, and had simply been surrounded by people who were too threatened to notice. Over the months, Theodore and Eleanor developed a friendship that surprised them both. He sought her counsel not just in business but in life. She found in him a steadiness she had stopped believing existed in other people. He brought her roses not from a shop, but from seeds he had been growing in his conservatory for years, because he had heard her story about the garden and had not forgotten it. They were not young and they were not foolish, and the love that grew between them was not the frantic, grasping love of people who are afraid. It was the quiet, certain kind. The kind that does not need to announce itself. The kind that shows up at a bus stop in January and simply listens. Eleanor Marsh had spent 32 years believing that love was a transaction. On a cold bench with a brown paper bag between them, she finally learned that it was not. It was a gift, unexpected, unearned, and absolutely free. If this story moves something in your heart, please give it a like. Share it with someone who needs to hear it today. And subscribe to Kindness Corner Stories, where every week we remind each other that the world is still full of people worth believing in.